So in this game, they played a London, which Magnus likes to do with white. And it's pretty boring. Pretty boring. Okay, pretty boring. And then he made a move I don't like. The engine says it's okay, but I would never play this move. Aronian took the bishop. I don't like opening the h-file for my opponents. I don't like that. Okay, now Magnus playing a little crazier lately than he used to. I mean, he doesn't want to draw all of his games. I understand. So he played rook h4. Now, I don't like this move, but it worked out really well. Obviously, he's defending the e4 square, making knight e4 always impossible. And he wants to play g4 without hanging his pawn, and then g5. And he'll castle queenside or play king e2, then double up on the bubble up. All right, so reasonable, idea. Okay. c5, knight e5, rook c8. These moves are all good. f4. All right. Computer says it's about equal. a6 is okay. a4 is a little strange to me since he played f4 and rook h4. All right. cd is okay. ed is okay. And now Aronian plays, I think, quite badly. That's what I think. I think he helps his opponent. Okay. And here the engine says b5, playing on the side of the board that he's playing on, and white's playing on the king side. Try to distract white by sacking a pawn there. Instead, he took on e5, which I don't like, and then he played knight d7, and now white has this monster attack. So eventually white's just going to win. White's going to play g4, g5, white's going to play this rook to h1, and I mean, white just has this monster attack. Okay, and now this is the engine move, but it just shows you how bad black's position is. Never play f6. And he played f6. Okay, and unfortunately for Magnus, he thought it was an easier win than it actually was. That's not usually a fault of his. And actually, queen e2 might be the best move. He took on f6, which is okay. That's okay. Probably queen takes is the last move that I would play, but that's what he played. Okay, and this egged Magnus onto a losing variation. It wouldn't happen to me because I'm a vegan, so I don't get egged. Okay, but Magnus, eats eggs. So rook f4, which is fine, and now he blundered. And Kasparov was pretty mad today when he was being interviewed by Yasterjen and Maurice, and he was like, well, Magnus just strategically crushing Aronian that makes a one-move blunder, and he's like, this game and that game and the other game, rawr. When I played, we didn't blunder in my day, and if we did, nobody said anything because we're so good, and these guys are blundering. There's too many games, or whatever. So in this position, the engine plays queen e2, or rook takes f8, or long castle, and says white's doing great. White's got this action. White's got his rook here. The e6 pawn is weak. This bishop's no good. This knight can't go anywhere. And the engine says +1, plus 1.5. But Magnus thought he's winning immediately, which is very insulting to Aronian. If I'm playing Aronian and I think like he hung mate, I would be like, whoa, Aronian used to be second in the world. Maybe he didn't hang mate. Normally, if you think Aronian hung checkmate, you're wrong. Normally. And so you give it a second look. But Magnus was like, rawr, I'm Magnus, rawr. And he just lost the game immediately, which is hard to do with white here. He played the brute force method, missing a check. If you haven't seen this game, you're going to see it now. Bishop h7 check. Only legal move is here. And still white's doing fine. White just has to not do what he does. He just has to keep playing chess. And bishop h7 doesn't make a lot of sense. But having said A, knight h4, and this looks like white's completely winning. Knight g6 is unstoppable, and it's mate and wins the queen. It does both. So Magnus probably should have said, why is Aronian losing his queen and hanging mate? And been suspicious. Right? And it turns out, if Aronian doesn't play the right moves, Magnus is completely winning. It's over. So I don't know what Magnus missed. I'm not sure. So rook takes f4. Obviously, you can't take back because your knight's hanging with check. So knight check, only legal move. Knight takes queen check. The queen attacks the king. The knight attacks the rook. Unfortunately, just like on television, when they check you, you check them. And now black's actually winning because the knight is trapped. And I'm not sure what he missed. If he missed rook e4 check, or he saw rook e4 check and thought he was still winning, not realizing his knight's trapped. So if the king moves away, I play rook e8, I take your knight, and I have a rook bishop knight for a queen, and white's pawn structure is no good on the king side. So black just wins. So here the engine says black is anywhere between 1.8 and plus 2.5, depending on what engine you have, and white can't do anything. It's not like white can sack a piece or get a passed pawn. White just has nothing going on. So normally, this is the kind of thing weak players do. It goes check, 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 capture, 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 check, check, check. And they're like, oh my God. And the super GMs, they calculate checks and captures, and they're like, this wins, this loses, this wins, this loses. Then they play appropriately. Here, it was all check, check, capture every move, and he just lost. So very strange. Now, if you guys did it, very normal. But for Magnus to just go into a forcing variation, then resigning, is weird. That's something a weaker player does, not him. Okay, so he played the best move. This is the engine line. But it's bishop knight for a rook. So bishop and knight beats a rook. What are you going to do? Truth hurts. And there's just nothing going on. Bishop and knight for a rook. Yeah. After knight b7, he resigned because here comes knight here check, and then bishop b3, and horrible. Doubled pawns. And the engine says +5 for black. Or -5 if you're a computer nerd. So, I mean, a horrible blunder from Magnus, this bishop h7, knight h4.